We're about to go get lobster rolls. Okay, let's back up.
Okay.
And let's pull out, and then let's see how it sounds.
Okay.
We're on the road. It's very bright. Whoa. Anything we can do? Yeah, I think I have to change the camera settings.
All right, let's do that.
But let's pause on the side of the road.
Paused here.
Hello, everyone.
Hey there.
We are in our new car, and we are on our way to get lobster rolls. So we're actually on our little fake baby moon that we decided to take.
This is fake?
This is fake.
Okay.
None of this is real. We decided to take this little baby moon trip out east, away from New York City, just so that we could have a little bit of time away, even though, as you probably know from my other vlogs, my doctor didn't want us to fly and travel, so we didn't end up going to California. This is our baby moon instead, and whenever we're out here, I love getting lobster rolls. So we are on the way, and it's about a 25-minute ride, so figured we would record this video on the road.
I'm so excited.
All I want to eat in this pregnancy is seafood. Mussels, lobster, clams, shrimp. This baby's like swimming in the ocean. I don't even know if I've told you this one yet, but I'm delighted to tell you that this video is sponsored by one of our all-time favorite games, Words with Friends. If you don't know what Words with Friends is, I've been playing this game for years, and it is a word game that's available on Android and iOS. It's free, and we play all the time, super competitively, so we're just kind of constantly in a fight.
Because of the game, but also not because of the game.
But one thing that I want to share specifically with my YouTube followers is that Words with Friends also has a YouTube channel. I'll link it for you down in the description box, and it has so many fun brain games and brain teasers. I feel a lot better about playing a game when it's educational in a way. Something that is, you know, stirring your mind and getting you to think. As in the game. This is tinsel. Tinsel!
Got it.
I think it has me, right? Find this one. Got it. I always loved English and grammar and vocab, and so games like this are just right up my alley. So good. I've never heard that word, you. We always keep score because the score is the most important part of the game. Doesn't matter how much fun you had, it's about who won. 5 for Michael, 4 for Lucy.
I came into today feeling pretty confident, and sometimes you just have your stuff.
All right, have a good day, bye.
Yeah, you too, see ya.
I just want to encourage everyone out there who wants, you know, to find some fun on the internet, do some fun brain teasers, but also do games that are going to improve your Words with Friends score. The YouTube channel is definitely something that you'll want to subscribe to, so I will link it for you below. Thank you so much to Words with Friends for being the best partner and for working with me. I can't believe that I'm sponsored by Words with Friends.
It's a great day.
This is our first time vlogging in the car like this, and the car doesn't really have like a vlog setup.
Yeah, we didn't get that package.
We didn't get the Vlogger Delight special, so we just sort of set up my camera on the dashboard, and we're hoping for the best. We hope you can hear us. We hope you can see us. We'll just see what happens. In today's video, we are going to walk you through something really fun that we did last week, which was testing out old wives' tales gender predictions. Listen, I don't know if it is PC to say old wives' tales. It sounds wrong. Even saying gender predictions is something that I don't normally say because we've been referring to our baby's sex as their sex, not their gender. As far as I'm concerned, or as far as I feel, a baby's sex is the biological sex that is assigned to them at birth, you know, male or female. But a baby's gender is how they identify. It's not necessarily something biological or scientific. So that's why we've been calling it a sex reveal. But I want to say this video, I'm calling it gender predictions. And that's just because for YouTube search engine optimization, I really don't think anyone is searching Old Wives' Tales sex predictions or typing in sex predictions to YouTube. Like, that sounds filthy. So we're just gonna call it gender predictions, but just know that the actual sex of our baby, like, we've been referring to it as sex, and I plan to continue doing that. So when it came to this video, I think there are like two categories of experiments. So there were the physical hands-on experiments where we actually had to do something physical, and we did this during a work day in the city, so Michael worked with me on a couple of them, but it was really me and my content manager Laura that worked together to do these experiments and see what the results were. And then the rest of the predictions are kind of like these facts that people say, and so there was nothing physical, so we're just going to kind of go through a list and see what our answers would be. So let's get started. Take us back to last week. The first test we did was called the ring test. Now this is a test where you take a ring, so we used Michael's wedding ring, and you put it around a necklace chain. The longest necklace chain we had was one of Laura's necklaces that was not very long, so Michael held that ring suspended in the air above my belly while I lied down on the couch. And we were seeing if the ring, they say that if the ring moves in a circular motion, you know, you're keeping your hand still, so you're not moving. But if the ring starts moving in a circular motion, they say it's a girl. And if it starts going back and forth, it's a boy. It was a little hard to tell. The ring was actually sitting pretty still. It's very, very subtle. Are you rigging it? It's pretty still.
No.
It wasn't moving much, but when all was said and done, it moved back and forth more than in a circle. So that would be 1 point for boy. The cabbage test. Okay, warning, you're gonna see my pee in this video. I had to pee a couple times for these tests. If you're squeamish and you don't want to see pee, tune out now. Cabbage test was also a little confusing. But basically you're supposed to take purple cabbage, you're supposed to boil it in water so that the water gets stained purple, like a deep purpley blue color. Pour that juice into a clear glass and then add, you know, somehow mix it together with your urine. What they say, all the old wives,
And the old husbands,
is that if when you add your urine into the cabbage liquid, it turns lighter, you're having a boy, and if it gets darker, you're having a girl. And I watched a lot of YouTube videos of people doing this, and it almost seems like everyone has an issue determining what is happening, because the color does change a little, but it's just really hard to tell if it got lighter or darker or just a different color. When we did it, the cabbage liquid was very purpley, almost like a purpley red color to start with, and then when we mixed the pee in, it turned blue. And at first we thought it was blue, like it got darker, like deeper than purple, but actually when we held it up to the light, the before was darker and deeper, and then the blue was actually lighter and a little bit more diluted. That would point to a boy. All right, the next question, this one's not an experiment, but they say that if you experience breakouts during pregnancy, you're having a girl, and if your skin is clear and you're glowing, it's a boy. What do you think?
I think you had some pretty bad breakouts at the beginning, but I think you're always glowing. So
Sweet.
It's really tough to tell.
My skin definitely broke out a lot in the first trimester, and then I went to the dermatologist and I got some prescription pregnancy safe acne medication, which I believe is why my skin is clearer now. I'm also wearing some makeup, and I do wear cover up and, you know, concealer throughout the day, so this is not necessarily all real, but I'm gonna say my skin has erred on the side of having breakouts versus being crystal clear and glowing.
Yeah, I think that's fair if it's one or the other.
Yeah, so that would point to a girl. The next test is more urine, and it was also slightly confusing to determine what it said. But this test is called the baking soda test. So in this test, you take a couple tablespoons of baking soda and you mix it with urine, and they say if it fizzes when you mix the two together, you're having a boy, and if it remains neutral and doesn't fizz at all, it's a girl. I don't know if the container I used was proper for this, because it was like a really tall, skinny spice container, So I don't know if they were actually able to mix properly, but the moment we poured the pee into the baking soda, you could see that there were fizzy bubbles floating to the top, and the very top of the urine started to fizzle. And I have seen videos of other people on YouTube who did this and who got completely flat results. So I know that even though it was like minor bubbles, it definitely was fizzing. So that would give us another point for the boy. The next experiment is, are you carrying high or low? If you're carrying high, people say you're having a girl, and if it's low, people say you're having a boy. Do you know what I've been carrying?
Well, I know for a long time, for most of the pregnancy, I feel like you said that you were feeling him or her lower down. Mm-hmm. But more recently, you felt like he or she is kind of up more so in your rib region.
He or she.
He or she. So I feel like it would be lower down if it has to be one or the other.
Good job.
Thank you.
I said to Michael in the beginning of our pregnancy, I kid you not, it feels like this child is in my vagina. That's how low they are. They're supposed to be up higher, you know, by my belly button, but they were so low to the point that at every ultrasound I went to, they would put the scan on and say that the baby was like right above my pubic bone. So I definitely have been carrying very low. As Michael alluded to, more recent days, the child has drifted upwards. I now feel kicks in my ribs, but low. So that would be a point for boy. The next test is the eye vein test. This one is not urine related, but it is a little gross. Like if you don't like looking at people's eyes up close, maybe tune out again. But in this test, you're supposed to pull down your skin and look up. And then they say that you will either have like a Y or a V-shaped vein in your left eye or your right eye. If it's more in your right side, they say it's a boy, and if it's more on your left side, it's a girl. I actually had these veins in both eyes, but what I will say is that the right eye had more of a Y-shaped vein, and the left side did have like a dark squiggle in it, but it was not necessarily a Y or a V. It was like one dark squiggle and then a lighter line. We counted this one as if it was my right eye, which would be another point for boy. The next question is about cravings. They say if you are craving sweet foods, you're having a girl, and if you're craving saltier foods, you're having a boy. What do you think I've been craving?
Salty? Okay. Like
so yeah.
Papers and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm more of a sweet person to begin with, and this isn't to say that I haven't been interested in sweets. I just had a handful of chocolate chips 10 minutes ago, but I've been so into salty stuff, more so than usual.
I guess that's right. I feel like for the most part your diet has been pretty consistent with how you would be and how you are when you're not pregnant. Mm-hmm. But maybe a little bit more salty.
Yeah, it's just been a little bit on the saltier side, so that's a point for boy. The next two tests were computer-based tests that I took. One was the Chinese gender predictor and one was the Mayan gender predictor. The Chinese gender predictor, you just enter in some information. I think it was your due date or your birthday or how old you are or something like that, and it tells you if you're having a boy or girl. And I took this test online, and for me it said boy, so that's a point for boy. And then the Mayan test, basically they ask for your age and then the year that you conceived in. If they're both even numbers or if they're both odd numbers, you're having a girl. And if one's even and one's odd, you're having a boy. So for me, I conceived at age 28, which is even, in the year 2021, which is odd. So the Mayan calendar predicts I'm having a boy. 8 for boy and 1 for girl. The next question is about nausea. They say if you're nauseous and sick, you're having a girl, and if you're not nauseous, you're having a boy. I think we all know that I was nauseous.
Oh yeah.
This is a huge point for girl. Whole first trimester I was nauseous, threw up multiple times, so this is a girl point.
Yeah, so many people told us and told you that because you were feeling more sick, it was likely to be a girl.
Right. This next test, a little silly. Probably doesn't mean anything, but this is the spoon fork test. So someone is supposed to tape a spoon under one chair and a fork under the other chair, and then you're supposed to enter the room and sit in whichever chair you feel like is calling you. And if you sit in the chair with the fork, you're having a boy. And if you sit on the chair with the spoon, it's a girl. Alright, let's see. What are we having? It's a boy! And I chose the fork, which would indicate that I'm having a boy. Next couple questions. Changes in body temperature. Have you been feeling hotter or colder? They say if you've been feeling colder than normal, it's a boy, and hotter, it's a girl. I typically always feel really cold, and I definitely have not felt as cold, so I'm gonna go with hotter.
I agree.
I think I've been a little hotter. And at night, I've been sweating. So that says it's a girl. Now there are just a few of these that we can run through. Have I been clumsier or more graceful? If I've been clumsier, it's a boy. More graceful, it's a girl.
No comment.
I have been slamming into walls, banging into countertops, tripping. I've been clumsy.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you were a little bit clumsy prior to this, and it's only gotten worse.
I've gotten worse.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, clumsy boy. Have I had more headaches? If yes, it's a boy. If no, it's a girl.
Interesting.
I think no. I used to have a lot of headaches, and actually my head's been pretty good.
Yeah, I would say no.
So that's a point for a girl. Is your partner gaining weight? They say if your partner's gaining weight, you're having a girl. I think you've actually lost a couple pounds.
I might have. I don't know. I haven't kept track. I didn't know that we were doing this test, but I don't think I've gained weight.
I don't think so either. That would be another point for boy. Two more. One is about the baby's heart rate at the first ultrasound. They say that if it was lower than 140 beats per minute, it's a boy, and if it's higher than 140, it's a girl. Our baby's heart rate at the first ultrasound was 150 beats per minute. So, girl. It's 5 for girl. Okay, and the last one is, does it feel like your face is getting rounder? If yes, they say that you're having a girl. And if your face is remaining unchanged, but your behind is growing, then it's a boy. And I gotta say, what you gonna do with all that junk? It's definitely my butt.
Yeah.
I do think in more recent days, you know, I'm getting to the third trimester. I'm in the third trimester. It's getting close here. And I do think I've noticed my face has maybe filled out a bit, but throughout the whole pregnancy, the first thing to expand was my butt. Then these. But first the butt. So that would indicate boy. And according to the old wives, our baby is going to be a boy. Final score is 12 points for boy and 5 points for girl.
The old wives have spoken.
So now for anyone out there who watched this and didn't actually know the sex of our baby, we are having it's a
beautiful baby boy!
The old wives were right for us. Listen, I can't vouch for any of these methods. If anyone out there is pregnant and still doesn't know the sex of your baby, you could give it a try. See if it works for you. Clearly, this worked well for us. Now we are pulling up to the lobster roll spot. Perfect timing. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you liked watching this video. I hope that us talking in the car was fun and not annoying. Let me know down below if you did any prediction tests before you knew the sex of your baby, or, you know, after, and if they worked for you. I'm really curious if this is just a coinkydink or if it's really accurate stuff. But otherwise, we will see you soon. Thanks for joining us on our little baby moon. And let's go get some lobster.
Let's do it.
Mwah. Bye.